And welcome back to another episode of Orwell's Interceptors. I am still hung up on this oil pump, and I believe I'm going to try to put in 86 inside of this 84 engine. So I removed the clutch basket, a bunch of stuff so that I could get all the way in here, that I'll be able to remove the oil pump. And I have two pumps that I'm looking at. I kind of covered this in my previous video, but this is the one that I pulled out of that spare engine I had, and this is one that I ended up obtaining because I basically just needed this strainer and the seal on here. And then I forgot I didn't buy a 65mm bolt, but I went and just started pulling shit off of that one until I found one, and I found a 65mm bolt. So I think this could work. This is the strainer. This is what's going to go on here. There's a different oil pump inside of the 84, so this one's going to be a little bit deeper. This is the sump that I just took off. This is the sump that I just took on. The big things that are changing is that this oil pump from the 86 is a better oil pump, and the sump over here is larger. So I want the better oil pump. I'm also realizing that I got too small of a filter on. There are multiple filters that fit on this thing, and I have too small of a filter, and if one of the things that I want to do is fix the oiling issue, I want the best filter, so I will change that on there. Before I get too far, I should mention there are some tolerance checks you can do on the oil pump to check if it's good, because it says if it's out of tolerance, you don't want to use that bad boy in the measurements that they're talking about. So this is the one I think I'm going to put in. One of the measurements they're looking for, they don't want you to be over 0.006 on any of these, so I know I'm not, so I'm going to go a lot smaller, 0.003. They're looking for that's gonna move. That measurement there, I know I can't fit a 0.006 in there, so that one's good. Another measurement they're looking for is outside of the rotor here. It'll go in if I get it curved right. There. So that's a 0.003 on both of those. I know I can't get a 0.006. I can't even get a 0.005 on the outside there. So that one checks out. What other cool things should I talk about before I start doing it? Because I know nobody's watching this video for entertainment. They're only watching it if they're considering it. So the link pipe here, that's what sits on these stands here. It's not even screwed in, so I should just be able to pull that bad boy right out. That sits on these, so it gets pushed in there with those seals. On the 84 to 86, this is the same piece, so that should be just fine. I can fucking A. The pressure release valve is different on this pump. It's obviously different on this pump, and then the strainer is a lot different. This one's just held in by this clamp here, whereas this one's actually going to bolt in like this, which is yeah, the 86 upgrades seem a lot better, because this just seems kind of janky to me. The sumps have the same shape, so they can both fit, but this one just holds a lot more oil, which is a good thing. We like oil. I don't know what the pink paint on these clutch springs means. I don't have a stock clutch to compare it to. I wish I did, because that's been throwing me through a bit of a loop. Yeah, I just don't understand how clutches work. I mean, I get in theory how it works, but I don't understand how I can grab. I am looking at the clutch to see if there's any like gouging inside of it, because if you got like a sticky clutch or something, it's often because these plates aren't going to be moving easily. Dude, this thing looks fucking immaculate. Alright, let's get this strainer off. So I cracked it already. So what I want to do is release this hold here. I believe after I get this hold off, I should be able to just straight pull the strainer out. Now that's all the way through the through bolt, and I gotta hold on to that one because I think this is one of them that I'm going to be reusing. I don't remember if this is the 60 versus the 65 or not. I'll just measure them when I'm done. That's a long one. Is that longer than that? Okay, so this is the 85. I think there's an 85 in there. Alright, so the strainer should be able to pop out now. There it is. There is the difference between an 84-85 and an 86 strainer, for any of you that care. That's the difference. Now this link pipe should not be held in by anything because it's held in by the sump, which is not on it. we'll see which one looks better. This one or the other one, and I'll use whichever one looks better. This is the link pipe, and this is the other link pipe. These should be identical. And they are. I'll just reuse this one. Alright, so we've got that. Oh, actually, this whole pump assembly is going to come out now. So now I need to get these two 8s off of there. I loosened them already. These two 8s should come up. And then I got to figure out how to get this sprocket nut off. Actually, I'm just going to spin it with the impact as quickly as possible. I think I'll be able to get it off. Oh, I'm bleeding. Cool. I'll be able to get it off. Cross fingers. I'll be able to get it off without too much trouble. Get some, bitch. Okay. Oh, we need you to go backwards. That's that. Alright, so this whole part should come up now. Chain, it has enough slack. There's no like tensioner on it or anything. Oh, my fucking $2 pizza is done upstairs. I can hear it beeping. Okay, that's that piece. And that'll go right back down onto there. Okay, so that's how I can do it. Alright, one of the things that I wanted to check, because this part number on this sprocket is different than this one. Even though I think they're the same. I do wonder if they just changed manufacturers. So it's the same amount of teeth, but if you see, those holes don't align. It's somehow different. Okay, there's some kind of mark there. Yeah, the holes don't align. It's a different part. It's somehow slightly different. Weird. Alright, that's the one. No, I'm going to use this one. Because this is the one from the 86 pump. This is the 84 pump. And then there are 2 remaining bolts inside of there. 10 millimeters. One of these is going to be reused and one of them is going to be replaced. Once I get these 2 off, I should be able to pull the pump all the way out. Okay, if I'm thinking about this correctly, this should come out now. Alright, so it's gonna fight with... Why the fuck is that thing all the way up there? Alright, so I ran upstairs and I ate half of a $2.27 Roma's pizza, and I realized what I need to do to get this oil pump out. Basically, I had to put the sprocket on it and then align this thing that marries up with the water pump, and then I should be able to just pull it out. That didn't make sense until I thought about it. So there is the old pump. Let's see what the old pump looks like compared to the new one. So yeah, the 86, it's a bigger pump for sure. Those are different bolts holding it in. Sprocket should, well, the sprocket is different even though it has the same amount of teeth. Yeah, I'm guessing it's just, this has a smaller volume that it's able to put out. And this is the bigger pump, bigger pressure release valve, and bigger everything. That's what's going in. Alright, that's an 84 pump, that's an 86 pump. Cool, so I mentioned that one of the bolts is different. The mounting bolts. This is the 60 millimeter. This one goes through here on the 84. On the 86, it actually needs a 65, which would be this one. So those 2 lengths there are just slightly different. Actually, I just reminded myself, there is a locating dowel in that one that's actually probably still in there. There it is. Okay, we're going to take that out. I love having other parts to compare against it, but yeah. So I haven't been filming for like the last hour. I've been really close to throwing a hammer. I saw something out of the peripheral and I didn't think anything of it when I did it, but when I pulled that pump out, I saw this seal, well, it was this seal here on the water pump was loose. It was like loose on the shaft. So this seal is supposed to sit in there. I've put another one in it. I forgot I had these. I got a couple old water pumps. I don't even know how I have them. So I pillaged this one. No matter what I did, no matter which socket I was trying to drive this thing into the one inside of there, I could not get it all the way in. This thing is just, it's like it's swollen. It's like it's fucked. That one I was able to push in. This one I could not get in. So this seal that's in this thing right now, I don't know, I was trying literally everything I got. This will not fit. So the seal is fucked. I'm glad I saw that. I just thought I was going to badger the whole thing. So now I've got a new, well, it's an old, but a new old seal in there. So I should be able to put the pump in. Now there's an O-ring that goes on this one, and then there's a locating dowel that goes in that one. And then I would just want to line the water pump up. And I should be able to bring this over. And then the locating dowels with the O-ring like that. Damn. I mean, that's easy, but oh my god. I almost fought this machine. Alright, so oil pump is in. I've got the 3 mounting bolts all in with the new 65 in it. The new strainer is on it. The old sump, I tried it before. It doesn't fit, obviously, because the strainer has a different shape. This one will fit right there. And then I was worried these are the things that hold the link pipe on, because the link pipe actually isn't, you know, secured by a bolt or anything, but it's held on by pressure from that. It goes all the way up. So now I got to get the sprocket on, and I think I'm able to do this. I think if I put the sprocket into the chain first. Yeah, that's what I want. I can have it one of two ways. I don't think it matters, so there we are. Then we need my 10 with my washer, and I'll put that over the top, and that'll be good. As far as I know, that's an oil pump swap from an 84 to an 86. Button everything back up. Figure out if you got stock springs or not in your clutch. I have no idea. I have no idea if this is going to work. One thing the manual did mention is to prime the pump by pouring oil into one of the two ends. It doesn't say which end, until oil falls out the other end. Well, I did that earlier, and it just made a mess. And the other thing that's going to happen is as soon as I set this engine down, it's all just going to fall right down. Alright, it's next day, and I did some thinking about how I'm going to actually tighten the 27mm lock nut onto the clutch basket. Since I don't have the dedicated tool, I posted online too. I got some suggestions, so I went and I looked around for something that might work, and turns out this door hinge actually jams in there pretty good, and it doesn't slip. That one does most of the work. I took all the clutch plates and everything down, because these will, if you try it on the top, I was just touching it earlier, and you can flex these, and I don't want to break it. But I got to get that nut to 43 to 51 foot-pounds, so just as a test. I did tighten this down already. I have a dedicated tool, the clutch holder thing, in my shopping cart, but I think this is going to work, so let's just go to 25 right now. Okay, that's 25. Oh, this is going to be tough because the engine's trying to spin on me. Like on the, not this spin, but the physical thing is rotating. There it is. 45. Whew. Door hinge. I was also thinking about how I can prime it. And once I get this rag out, so my idea on how to prime it is to fill this up with oil, put this all back together on this side, close this up, pull the spark plugs, put 14 on the other side, spin the motor by hand several times, pull off the oil filter, and wait till I get flow coming out of it. I think that is how I can prime this. So I'm just trying to figure out how all of this works here. So the clutch basket's in, and oh, I gotta make sure that I torque these down. I don't know what they're torqued to. I'll come back to that. This is the output from the crankshaft, so the primary gear, and it's not slotted in a certain way. This goes on and mates with the clutch. Alright, then there is a thrust washer and whatever they call this thing. That goes there. Then there is the starter clutch itself, and it has, oh god, I almost just did it again. This needle bearing, it kind of, now it won't fall out. If it's fallen out on me like 6 times. This kind of sits in there. It's pretty easy for it to drop out, and I keep forgetting. And the starter clutch is only going to spin in one direction, so it'll spin that way, but it won't spin the other way. So this one is slotted, so you can't put it on wrong. This one needs to be timed right, because the signal generators are picking up off of this thing, from what I can understand, the position of the crankshaft. So it could tell the spark plugs when to fire. You see, I can move the gear behind there counterclockwise, but I cannot move it clockwise. Then there is a 14mm bolt here, and this holds this starter clutch on, and this thing gets torqued down to, what did it say, 39 to 43 foot-pounds? Don't quote me on that. I was going to set it to 43. I know 43 is my number. Alright, so that would go in there, and then I will torque that down. And then you've got this one, which is a little bit tricky. This is the starter-driven gear. And the reason it's a little bit tricky, it's got to mate with the starter clutch here, and it's got to mate with the starter drive there, but it doesn't get held in until you get the case on. So when this mates into here, I'll show you. So basically, you can roll it up, and now right there, the case would come over, and that pin here is what's going to hold it in. What's kind of tricky is if, oh, let's say I go a little too far. Well, you can't roll the thing backwards, so you basically got to restart and then come back here, and I'll find my spot. Should be right there. I should then, I'm not going to put it on permanently because I didn't torque either the clutch basket or that 14mm bolt, but this should go on to there, and then the locating valves, and torqued on, and that would be putting that thing together. That's cool. I think we just gotta get this thing off and figure out how to prime it. So this is a bit of lunacy. I've been looking through the manual, trying to find what the pressure plate screws or bolts should be torqued to, and there is no published value. I just googled it. Other people have had this issue. Apparently not very tight, and people have found broken ones. They're apparently a weak bolt. So 4 to 7 foot-pounds is what I was recommended, which is not a lot. So I just got the 1/4 inch, and I'm going to 75 inch-pounds on these, which is like between 6 and 7 foot-pounds. See, that's not a lot. That's it. Don't go nuts on those. It seems like that would be an extremely important one, given how, important the pressure is on this thing, but there's no published value. Yeah, stupid mistake using a rag that can fray apart to do that. Luckily, I'm able to back it out, because the starter will go that way. I pulled all the spark plugs out to be able to do that. They had to come out anyway for me to be able to prime the thing. Now I gotta go search to see if there's any more red strings. If not, then cover on and other cover off and prime. Another stupid thing by me that I didn't realize, this pin can be moved out of here and stay there for the starter driven gear. Oops. I mean, doesn't hurt anything, but makes it easier. Alright, my idea to prime it worked. It just was taking way longer than I expected it to. So I've got the oil filter removed. I've got the left side of the case off, showing the flywheel here. I've been cranking on it, just moving it counterclockwise in the direction of travel with just a ratchet for, I don't know, 200 spins. I just wasn't getting anywhere. So I had roughly 2 liters of oil in there, and then I finally started seeing some flow. When I used to drill to spin it, don't use the impact wrench, you'll crack this nut. You don't want to do that. But let's see if I can show it again. Look at that! Oil! So, the pump is primed. And it's pumping oil. So I think we should be good. Unfortunately, that oil filter, I mean, this thing was a piece of shit. It's going in the garbage anyway. But the whole fucking gasket on it just ripped off when I pulled it off. So that's annoying. I don't have another one to throw on it. And I can't put that one on it because the gasket's not. Anyway, I have no idea if this is actually going to work or not because I don't know when this bike is going to be running next. So usually if I do something like this, I like to post a video after I know it's running and working. But I'm not doing that this time because I don't know if it's going to work. So if you watch this far, thanks for watching. I mean, it's going to be -5 here, Fahrenheit, in 2 days. For some reason, it's 49 degrees outside. Why wouldn't I try to, you know, get some of this fucking grease off of this frame?